Creation's Journey to Life. Day 19. Rotten Love. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to fail to see that the love that produced the rotten love syndrome is in fact spoiled love, without principle, and thus rotten with all the aspects of its nature. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to use love that produces failure to honor all life equally in practical living as love justified to apparently be mysteriously able to somehow produce a godly result just because I believe it will, instead of me investigating all aspects of the love I express to measure if it will in fact produce the result I intended. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that, to believe that my intention to produce the benevolent result within a love that move within mysterious ways is in fact an irrational contradiction that cannot produce measurably what is best for life, as I use it to support my real intent of self-interest that I was imprinted with as a child through the rotten child pattern. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that I have allowed a picture of love to create a feeling of love based on my self interest of what I want from love, to determine how I would choose in the name of love and act in the name of love to gain the reward as love, to satisfy my desire for love within the particular aspects of love that I have defined as important within the nature of my love. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that I have externalized love as a system of money and have equalized love to be only givable to myself and others as money, and that only money could force me and others to become givers of love, and that if you have not received money, I justified it that in some way you have not yet earned the right to love and are therefore in some way not yet completely embracing this love, which has been termed the love of God, and therefore this God of love as money that move in mysterious ways will only reward you with love if you accept the nature of God's money's will, unconditionally, without question, completely submitting to the way of love as God as expressed through money. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that I have justified sex as the physical method through which I am able to create life as a child to become subject to my version of rotten love, through which I can obtain my reward of pleasure, to erroneously confirm to myself irrationally that my version of love is justifiably acceptable within the context of how I have designed my rotten love to be the vehicle through which I will receive the just reward for my dedicated self-interest, to fulfill my version of love, through which I will gain a glimpse of my version of divinity, and thus be satisfied that because my rotten love is complete, I am living my love as completeness, in spite of the evidence that my rotten love is producing suffering in such quantities that the cup of evil is spoiling every child born through the act of sex in every way to become just another version of the parent's self-interest. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have refused to see that my desire to consume love, to through this consumption feel alive and confirm myself as life. I have created a system of consumerism that is presented to me through images of love, through which I can fulfill my unique individual desire of love, without seeing that my rotten love, through the acceptance of my individual self-interest, has in fact produced a system that rapidly consumes the earth, which is the giver of life in all its measure, and makes it possible for me to produce life as a child and experience myself within the context of what is available here on earth for life to be experienced. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that I have contaminated free will and free choice with the rotten love of my self-interest, to justifiably produce the words that I love in design and living in ways that will favor me and those I choose to favor above all others, to produce a world where my love in my life will be my experience. Thus, I will be able to justifiably ignore the results of inequality that my rotten love produce. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that I have created my consciousness within the context of my spirituality and religion to be justified as acceptable and untouchable in irrationality, to allow me to impress and experience my version of rotten love without question, and with the agreed understanding between all participants in this spirituality and religion, that each other will be supported and honored through a strange version of giving and receiving, where it is implied tacitly that I accept your version of rotten love as long as you accept my version of rotten love, to bring into experience our self interest, justified that we are equal in giving and allowing each other the right to this love, and that those that fail to benefit from this rotten love have just not yet understood how to love unconditionally in this way. Thus, the whole world is trapped in cycles where only rotten love is allowed as unconditional love in all aspects and versions of reality as it has been accepted. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to have failed to see that I have allowed this rotten love to be projected through education, through music, through advertising, through television, through community organizations, through religion, through business, through family, in every way possible, to be the only love allowed on earth, and that I have trained myself and my children to take immediate action against any heretic that may question this rotten love, to crucify them verbally, even to the extent of changing words to my dimension of viewing, even if it means that my version of what the heretics are saying is outright lies, just to make sure that my self-interest and ways of rotten love will never be questioned, so that I could have happiness, fulfillment, and pleasure on my own terms, as that is the ultimate fulfillment and security in a system of self-interest. I commit myself to expose self-interest as love for what it really is, as what it produced as a world system in the life of every being that is here on earth. I commit myself to show that words like love and equality and mysterious and godly and intent have all been deliberately designed in meaning to only fulfill rotten love as the fulfillment of individual self interest. I commit myself to show that benevolence has been tainted through the relationships formed between parties that forms the system through which rotten love has been deified, to a system that has been accepted as untouchable and unquestionable, to reduce each participant to an unconditional follower of rotten love. I commit myself to show how feelings and emotions were created within the proponents of rotten love as experiences through which each one could justify their version of reality as rotten love to fulfill their self interest, regardless of the results as evidence in the physical reality. I commit myself to show that the physical reality is in fact a mirror through which the irrationality of self interest and rotten love can be viewed in every breath, to bring each lost soul to self realization, to understand how each one can lose life to self interest. I commit myself to demonstrate through mathematical relationships equal to what is best for all life, the simplicity of stopping self interest and rotten love to take the road of self creation as life, and thus to birth self as life here as a living flesh, and to set self free from the fear that produced self interest as the only way one will be able to survive in a world where only self interest has been accepted. I commit myself to demonstrate that free choice holds as a choice that option to choose life and give life to all equally, and that such giving would produce a world that is best for all life, and thus the only real way that love can exist that is externally real and trustworthy. I commit myself to expose and demonstrate how consumption can be changed within a system of equality that will allow the earth to be restored to the paradise it once was. I commit myself to never give up and to not stop until all the lost souls on earth have been supported to return to the real love that is to support each other as life, equally valued, so that life may be fulfilled and self interest forever banished as the illusion it really is.